Hey everyone, Coach Investor back with another video for you today. So a lot of you have been asking my opinion on DocuSign. Most of you know it's not in my portfolio. I've been following DocuSign for a long time. It's just one of those companies that I didn't manage to add to my portfolio. Do I regret it? 100%. But in this video, we're going to talk about why I believe DocuSign is going to be a great investment and a great company in the years to come. Yes, even after the pandemic, because you know what? I don't think anybody wants to go back to pen and paper. Those that made the switch are probably going to stay with DocuSign or maybe a competitor like Adobe, but we're going to talk about that a bit later. I highly doubt somebody says, oh, I've used DocuSign because of the pandemic, but now that everything reopens, let me go back to pen and paper. I highly doubt that. So in this video, we're going to discuss all of that. Before I do so, I just want to thank everyone that has been subscribing lately. And if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button. And if you like these videos, maybe leave it an early thumbs up, as it really helps me outgrow the channel and get my videos out there. I would also like to thank the Motley for sponsoring this video. The Motley is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You guys know I love finding new investing tools and resources to help me find the latest growth stock and innovative company. And right now I have a discount for one of my favorite services, the Full Offers. Through the Motley Fool's Stock Advisor service, you get access to a ton of expert stock picks. Every month you'll get 2 picks that are aimed at growing your wealth and to help you realize your financial goals. Stock Advisor's average stock picks have returned over 500%. If growing your money is something you'd like to do more this year, you can visit www.fool.com/couchinvestor or click on the link below for access to my special offer and decide if Stock Advisor is right for you. Now let's get on with this video. Alright, so when most people think about DocuSign, they just think about this digital signature company and then they say, how big can it be? Why is it such a big deal? Is it even going to grow further in the future, etc.? But DocuSign is much more than that. Second point is a lot of people usually don't really interact with DocuSign's product. Let's face it, if you don't work for a bank or lawyer or accounting firm or whatever, you don't usually interact with DocuSign services, and that's completely normal. But that's why these types of companies are usually going under the radar and are still growing pretty fast, or even as fast as other products that are out there that you are using each and every day. And that's usually a good sign for an earlier investment or a long-term investor like us. So I'll give a personal example to why something like DocuSign should be used by every banker, every accountant out there. So a month or so ago, I had to sign lots of contracts, lots of agreements, etc. for the bank or for the accountant. How did I do that? Well, the old-fashioned way. I had to print out the contract, sign it, take a picture, send it back, they approve it, etc. Yes, sometimes I got it through an app and digitally signed that. But the most part, I had to do all of this useless process of printing out paper, signing the paper, taking a picture, and then sending it out by email again, which to me makes no sense at all. Where in 2021, why isn't everyone using a service like DocuSign? Makes no sense to me. Alright, so the CEO says that the sign business is worth as much as $25 billion, and DocuSign has the largest market share of that market. Right now, they have around 900,000 customers, and if you think of it, it's still very small, because let's face it, every business will have to sign something digitally in the future. So 900,000 customers is still very small, and that's why there's so much room to grow. But like I said, DocuSign is so much more than just e-signatures, and that's where the other products come in, like DocuSign's Agreement Cloud, the CLM, where you can manage agreements, prepare them in advance, analyze them, see if there are any duplicates in the agreements, have it renewed automatically. You can automate so many things, usually things that would take you days, if not weeks in advance, things that just take time for no apparent reason. Contracts, agreements are usually something that is very boring, especially if those are 10 pages, 20 pages or whatever. Things that always repeat themselves each and every month should be made automatically, and that's where DocuSign's suite of products actually comes in. So companies will also need to store, manage, obviously keep track of all these agreements and contracts, because when everything goes digital, you need to store them, manage them, and have a general overview of everything you have in your system. So that's exactly where DocuSign helps even further. They also acquired a company called Seal last year that brings AI and analytical software to the mix. Basically, their goal is to make any agreement between 2 or more parties digital, automated, less hassle. For example, notary, this is something they've been adding right now. something pretty big. So again, instead of wasting time rewriting agreements, looking for duplicates, or maybe forgetting to renew a contract, this is everything that can be done in DocuSign. Everything that can be automated, everything that can be notified will be done with DocuSign. This is something that will help lots of companies, especially those that deal with lots of paperwork. Now, before we talk about the competition and the growth potential, let's look a bit at their last quarterly earnings. Also, just an FYI, they estimate high single digits penetration in the US market and low to mid single digits outside of the US, obviously depending on the location. So again, this is still the early innings, in my opinion, for a company like DocuSign. And like I've been saying a couple of times, I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see the real digital revolution, and obviously DocuSign will play a big part of it. So we can see that revenue has been growing pretty well in the last couple of years. Obviously, 2020 accelerated thanks to the pandemic. But like I said, I don't think after the pandemic, this growth will slow down. Subscription revenue, again, subscription, a great model to have, growing as well pretty aggressively. And we can see that 95% of the revenue's contribution comes from subscription. They've also been growing their customer base pretty aggressively. We can see total customers have been growing for the last 8 years at a 42% compound annual growth rate. And the enterprise and commercial customers have been growing at a 54% CAGR. And like we've talked just before, the penetration outside of the United States, still pretty small, but we can see it right here. 80% comes from the US, the rest will come from international market, and I expect that percentage to grow in the years to come. And guidance for Q1, we can see that total revenue will be approximately the same. Q4, we had 431 million. I will put the picture right underneath, so we can compare that. And total revenue for fiscal year 2022 will be very close to $2 billion. Right now we were at, I think, 1.4, 1.5. So still a very nice increase. Right, so the numbers look pretty good. Now let's talk a bit about the competition, because obviously that's a big part in this business. But let's face it, this market is a pretty big market. The main competitor in my eyes is Adobe. And yes, a bit cliche, but pen and paper is, I think, the bigger competitor right here. Because pen and paper is exactly what everybody is using instead of digitizing their whole business. So Adobe and pen and paper, main competitors. I've personally used Adobe and DocuSign to sign some contracts and agreements, like them both. But as an investment, I think DocuSign has a higher return on your investment, because while Adobe is already pretty big, don't get me wrong, Adobe is one of those big high growth companies that is pretty stable and I think is under the radar for a lot of people. They are growing their revenues like crazy. They had an insane last quarter and last year as well, but people don't really notice it because it's not a fancy schmancy company. Those are usually the companies that will fare very well and that are faring very well in market uncertainties as well. But let's face it, 10 years from now, do you think people will still use pen and paper? I highly doubt that. And for Adobe, I think the market is pretty big to have two big players, and that hasn't really stopped DocuSign from growing at 42% CAGR since 2013, nor did it stop them to have and still be the market leader in the e-signature business. Right, to conclude, I love this company. Yes, it's not in my portfolio, but not every company I love can enter my portfolio. I wish I had unlimited funds, but hey, that's how it is. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about DocuSign or even Adobe for that matter. Do you hold any of those stocks? Let me know down in the comments below. By the way, Gali from Hyperchange will be coming on the channel sometimes next week. So if you want, you can go and submit a question or a topic you want to talk about in the community tab. And that will be it for this video. If you liked it, consider leaving a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, you hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, take care, stay safe, and see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.